this is Duncan here with Gord Clark, both members of the Montreal MG Car Club, and welcome to Series 2 of the Montreal MG Car Club stories. And I'm here with Gord Clark down at his residence down in the Hinchinbrook Rockburn area.
That's right.
And Gord was star of one of the videos from the first series with John Curtin, God rest his soul, praise to him. And we thought it would be a great idea for us to spend a bit more time with Gord because he's a bit of a cad and he's got tons of stories. So we're going to do this in two parts. We're going to talk to Gord about his early days of how he got into cars and all that, and then we're going to spend a bit of time with Gord and the MG love of his life, that glorious TF that won Car of the Year a couple of years ago, didn't it?
It did indeed. Yes. Yeah.
So we'll come back to that. But Gord, thanks for your time. And
great to have you here.
We're gonna kick off by saying, okay, we're going to take you a little bit far back. How did you get into cars in the first place?
Opened the door and I got in. Is that what you meant?
Okay, your passion for cars.
Oh. Well, it started actually in 1944. My father was off in the war, and my mother and I took a place down in Maine. We were driving through the mountains in our 1937 Dodge.
Nice.
When a tire failed. In those days, in the middle of the war, you could not get a tire for love or money. However, age 13, I jumped out. I changed the tire to my mother's absolute amazement. She stood there. To this day, if she were alive, she'd still be talking about it. And I said, Mom, I think you better let me drive. You're nervous. I was 13 years old, and I drove the rest of the way to Maine in our 1937 Dodge.
13 years old.
13 years old.
Nice. Okay.
So that was the beginning of my car. And
so that's starting early.
Very early.
Okay. How did your love of cars evolve after that?
Well, in my first year at McGill, I joined a fraternity, and one of the guys there had an MGTD. God bless him, he turned it over and killed himself, but that didn't discourage me just the same. So I went to my father. I said, I want to buy an MG, and he said, well, didn't Jamie McCall just kill himself? He said, yeah, but I said that's not. I'm not going to kill myself. He said, I'll give you $400. So I went around and I scurried around and I found a TC for $500.
Right. Okay.
A running TC.
Yeah. So why MG at the time?
Because the other guy had one, and it was. Right. I thought it was pretty stylish.
Right.
And it was a chick magnet, so I thought I'd try it. And, yeah, it didn't do me any good. I should add.
No room for shagging.
You're right. There is, but that's another story.
Peanut gallery steps in there.
But anyway, so I found this old TC, and I drove it for the first winter. I went skiing in it. It didn't have a heater in it, so I started up in the garage in the morning, so it was warm. Throw the skis in the passenger seat. No top down, of course. No top up, of course. Top down all the way.
Top down. Okay.
Top down, and drive up to the ski hills. Ski till noon. Come out, start the car up again to make sure it would run. Skied till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Threw the skis back in and drove it back to town.
Okay.
This was 1950 and '51.
So is this in the Montreal area still?
Yeah, just
okay.
in the
So you're going up to Saint-Sever and places like that?
Okay.
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I did this for 1 year, and I thought, well, this isn't too good. And then somebody offered me some good money for the car, way more than what I paid for it. So at the time, I went down to Sports Car, what's it called, Sports Car Motors or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had, no, it was Cook Toledo. It was Cook Toledo. They had a TD on there. They were selling a couple of them off. So somehow or other, I got them to approve my credit, and I bought a TD, and I paid for it over 3 years, and it was mine.
Yeah.
And then I saw the TF. By now the TF was out, and I wanted a TF.
Okay.
So I found a used...
So roughly what year are we talking about?
1954 now.
54, right.
So the TF was out, and here's a TF, nice TF with only 6,000 miles on a yellow one.
Okay.
But it didn't have wire wheels.
Okay.
But I bought it anyhow, and then they called me up the next... I'd had it for about a week, and they called me up and said, we've got a red one with wire wheels. Are you interested? Well, I didn't have to be asked twice. So I made a beeline for a sports car. What was it called? Sports car something or other. The guy sells them to Johnny Soanes, I remember it well. Anyhow, that's the car I bought.
Right.
In July of '54, and that's the car I still have today.
Terrific. So was it new? Was it
brand
new?
New, yeah, brand new, yeah.
And where was the dealer?
I've got the bill of sale. You want me to show you the bill of sale?
No,
it's right around the corner.
We'll
right
take
there.
a look at it. We'll take a look at it. But where was the dealer?
It was on right across from where where do the Canadians play? What do that?
Oh, the old Forum,
No, not the old Forum, the new one.
the Bell Centre.
Bell Centre. It's on St. Anthony Street in the yellow brick
Okay.
building.
Yeah.
And that was the MG dealer right
Right,
there.
okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
Yeah, it's still standing.
Yeah. So I know we've talked a little bit before about you flirting with racing and stuff like that, and you got involved in that. Can you just tell a little bit about that?
One thing led to another, and I got interested in racing. I shared a car with a couple of friends. I had a Saab, which I raced in ice racing. I absolutely loved that.
Ice racing.
Oh, great. And the Saabs were cleaning up, and so I found a Saab down in Burlington, Vermont, and go to old Hal Mayforth, and he said, you can have this for so much. So he put an engine in it for me, a good engine, and I brought it up here, and I raced it for a couple of years. Had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
And
so when you're ice racing, are you putting studded spike
we had
tyres
two
on
classes.
it and
We
things
had
like
we
that?
had studded and we had non-studded.
Right.
And the Saabs with the studded tires were absolutely unbeatable.
Yeah.
Nothing could come near them,
Yeah.
including the minis. So that was the story. Then the summer came, and I started being interested, and I joined in a group of guys. We had a little team called the Écurie Canton de l'Est, and we bought a couple of cars, and they weren't very sensational. I went over to England and bought two cars. I bought a Sprite, and I bought the first 970S Mini, and that was an absolute screamer. And we shared those cars for a couple of years.
Right.
But my wife said to me one day, she said, how long are you going to keep up with this crap? You've got two growing kids. And that was my last race.
So whereabouts were you doing the ice racing then? Was it all around here?
Frozen lakes. I can tell you a funny story. They used to race at Cornwall.
Yeah.
And if you weren't careful, you went off the course, you ended up in the ship's channel. And at one point in time, the channel hadn't frozen over quite. And I remember watching Dave Greenblatt spinning wildly, heading towards the ship's channel. He didn't end up in the water, but a lot of us learned from that very carefully.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
Those are great days. And I didn't race after that. I did a couple of hill climbs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I had a growing family, and it wasn't worth the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
So just coming forward a few years, you obviously got into the Montreal MG Car Club, and you were involved in those early days, and we talked with John about that. Tell me a little bit about your time with the MG Club, because you got involved in.
The MG Club got very, very big at one point in time.
Right.
You may not believe it, we had over 400 members at one time.
400.
Over 400, and we couldn't find a place to meet. We couldn't find a beer hall big enough to meet.
Right. Okay.
So we used to meet at the Holiday Inn on Côte de Liesse.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There, and that would hold us. Then, of course, the MG Car Club turned into the Montreal Motor Racing Club, and I stayed on with it, but we reformed it back into the Montreal MG Car Club in 1996. Terry Luck and myself and Gordy Harris and a few other people.
So it was an MG Club to start with,
yeah,
and then it went into being a racing
pure racing club.
Yeah,
a big operation, $1 million operation. We were part sponsors of the Circuit Mont Tremblant.
Right.
We organized all the races, and we're talking budgets of $300,000 and $400,000. It's way over our head, and it wasn't any fun anymore for me.
Right.
I maintained my membership in the club, but by this time I'd moved to Three Rivers, and I didn't go to too many of the meetings.
Yeah.
So it was only when the club died, about 1991, somewhere in there, that I took interest in it again.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I got a bunch of guys together: Bob Packa, Dick Hamilton, myself,
Yeah.
Terry Luck, Gordy Harrison, a few other people, and let's get the club going again, and let's get her back up to speed.
So tell me a little bit more about that then. So you've obviously stayed in touch with these guys.
Oh yeah.
But the club had kind of evolved into something that wasn't as attractive to you anymore, and then it dies away, as you said. So tell me about the reforming of it. You tell me what the inspiration
we got
was.
together very informally back in 1996. There were about 6 or 8 of us.
Yep.
And we contacted some of the original members.
Right.
And lo and behold, one day we had about 20 people up to a meeting.
Okay.
They didn't all stay, but they were interested anyhow.
Yeah.
And that carried on to about 1998, and I ran the club from 1996 to about 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
Gordy Harrison took it over from
Yeah.
me, and I can't remember the rest now. But anyhow, that was, and the club has grown, and basically it's grown because we have people who are interested in. We've hit the right level of activities, things that people like to do,
Yeah.
and that's why they like to become members of the club.
Yeah.
It's a good balance.
Right. So before we we're gonna take a break in a minute and then talk about your TF. Before we do, just finish it.
Break right now.
Absolutely. Where's mine? Oh, it's there.
There we go. This is our break.
Absolutely. Nice bit of G&T. So before we take a break, what do you? I mean, the club is not 400 members anymore. It's quite a smaller knit community. What do you think is the key for the club lasting another 50 years?
Well, we've all the members are considerably older. We don't really have any younger members. Young people today don't want to buy MGs; they want muscle cars.
Right.
So the membership now is probably 40 to 50 and up, and most of us are retired. Not all of us, most of us are. And we've been able to find that balance of social activities and driving. There's no more racing, no more competition, and in our age group, that seems to be the thing that most people want.
Right. But what about the future?
Well,
What do you think the keys are to keeping it going?
The future is to get younger people in it, and
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do that.
Right.
You know, I'm going to leave my cars to my kids. My grandchildren don't want them. They can't fit in it. One's 6'4" and the other one's something almost. So that's a bit of a dilemma there. So,
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going to happen. But a lot of people are leaving their cars to kids, and I don't know where it goes for this. I'm a member of the New England MGT register, and that is an issue right now on the table for them.
Right.
Because all our members are growing old and they're starting to drop off. So
Yeah.
not uncommon.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I think you're right. I think the MGs are going to still be around, and I think the volume of is obviously going to be less, but they are out there. I do keep seeing MGs on the road.
Yep.
So if we can do something to do more to capture those people and just give them an interest and make it interesting for them to want to come along and hang out with us.
Yeah, I think one thing that has to happen is someone who's got an MG like me gives it to somebody younger. You have to give it to them. You don't have to sell it to them. You give it to them.
Yeah.
And someone's going to say, well, what am I going to do with this MG? I might as well drive it. I've got it. You know, that's what I'm hoping will happen.
Right. Okay. Talking of MGs, we're going to come back after the break and talk about a very special TF.
Break time.
Break. Cheers. Are you tired of your British classic car not performing as you would like? Having to pray when you turn the ignition key, hoping for it to start? For your electrical, mechanical and servicing needs of your MG, Jaguar, Land Rover, Austin, Healey and Triumph, call Auto Power today on 514-923-5693. With over 25 years of British car experience, Joe Svire is waiting for your call. Okay, all, welcome to part two. I'm back with Gord Clark after a little break and a very lovely gin and tonic. Or two. And we're now going to talk about Gord's glorious MG TF. Okay, Gord. Okay, before we get started, remind us again how long you had it and when you bought it.
Bought the car in June of 1954.
Yep.
I still have the bill of sale around here somewhere. I mounted it, but I can't find it today, but I do have it. I bought the car, actually my father bought it as a tax dodge, and we played some games to get the license jiggered around, so we didn't have to pay any tax on it. In 1954 you could get away with that. Can't today, of course. So I've had it since then. It's been seen a lot of miles. It's been to every corner of the province, of the country. It's been to California, Florida, the Maritimes, and BC.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been up to Tuktoyaktuk yet.
So the furthest you've taken it will be Florida? No, BC will be further than Florida from here.
California was the furthest. Yeah,
California.
I went down to the Pebble Beach road races in 1955.
Okay, very good.
And those are long before the interstate system, so you're driving along little local roads. It was a great trip.
Yeah.
Great trip, let me tell you. I'd do it again in a heartbeat tomorrow. But the car is totally original. It's never been accidented. And as you can see, even the paint is original. It's absolutely original paint. The engine's been changed. I've probably put, I think it's on its 4th engine now.
4th, right.
It's on its 4th engine. The diff's been rebuilt and the gearbox has been rebuilt.
Right. So how do you source an engine when you're replacing an engine from one of these then? How
Well, I have a spare engine for it anyhow.
Right.
But when I'm talking about an engine, it's a rebuild, okay?
Right. Okay. So it's the same engine, but it's been rebuilt 4 times.
The rods and the crank are original. The pistons have been changed. The camshaft has been changed.
Yeah.
All the moving parts have been changed.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, but
oh, hello, Sterling. Here we go.
Okay. So you've done that. You've done that 4 times.
4 times. On
Right.
4th engine. Yeah, it's got about. I estimate. I've had the speedometer rebuilt twice, and they never set it properly for me. So it's probably got about 350,000 miles on it.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good work.
Yeah.
So how often do you get out in it?
Every day.
Every day.
Windscreen down.
Yeah.
If it's raining or snowing, I might put it up.
Right.
But Joanne, who's sitting out in the back porch, she and I drove our TFs to Kingston many years ago, all the way back, all the way down, all the way back in the driving rain with their windscreens down.
So why the windscreen down then?
Oh, I love the fresh air in my face. Absolutely love it.
And bugs.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
it's, a good way to enjoy a car, believe me.
Right. So just take us on a quick walk around it, just to point out some of the stuff that you think.
Well, the only thing, look over here at these wire wheels. These are not the original wire wheels. There's one over there, but the chrome. The car did not come with chrome wheels. You had to buy them extra. And I imported those from India because the Dunlop wire wheels they make today are not the same quality as these. These are chrome all through.
Yeah.
That's about the only major visual change I've made.
Okay.
You can see the seats are pretty tatty.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, just today I was inquiring about getting some new seats made, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yep.
This is sort of gone. But the car is totally original, and paint's original. As you can see, it's getting very tatty, but I don't care.
Sure.
People say as long as the car is solid. It's rock solid.
Yeah.
And chrome is original. Everything is original, as you can see.
So I mean, in modern terms, we were talking about it over the break about this being showing off its original patina.
That is correct. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about kind of sealing the patina as is and just getting it clear coated or anything like that?
I do. I have changed the gas gauge. I changed from a wooden one to a metal one. As you can see, and that tells me I've got just about enough gas to get over to the station in Franklin and pay 94 cents a liter over there.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. And other than that, it's totally original. It's never been apart. It's got a new top on it. I put a new, very nice top on it a few years ago.
Right.
Got a new tonneau for it as well.
Yep.
Everything is new, and car seals up well. Put the top up, the windscreen up, the side screens up, and the heater on, just like driving in an American car.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Do you take the side screens with you all the time?
All the time.
Right.
Oh, yes,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I can completely close the car in.
Yeah.
At 87 years old, I'm not interested in braving elements.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that walk around there.
Well, that's
and one last thing, you were thinking about you were going to be replating it, aren't you? You're going to be putting a new plate on?
I was thinking of getting a new plate from it. Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to last. That plate there.
Oh, this one? Oh, that's
that one.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, that's the original plate. You know, I bought that in 1954 with that plate on it. It hasn't changed since. So.
Very good.
Maybe time to get a new one. What do you think, Dunk?
I think that's fantastic. I think that's fantastic. Okay, that's the end of today's show. I just want to say a huge thanks to Gord for your time and the tour and the story.
Thanks, Dunk. Gin and Tonics here anytime you want to come. And anybody watching this video that wants to come to Rockburn, guaranteed a gin and tonic for sure.
Fantastic. I'll be sure to. We'll get the whole club down here. You might have to get a few bottles in.
Now you're talking.
Thanks a lot, guys. See
Cheers.
you soon. Bye.